Hi, I'm Cecil McNeil, a writer filmmaker. Welcome back to my vlog. In this segment, I'll be reading chapter 1 from Echoes of Mercy. Enjoy! November 1838. Kanuna! Kanuna! One of his spies appeared breathless before him. Gigage Oguyuhi, he hailed. They're coming. Kanuna felt the sense of dread that had been haunting him for days finally explode. How many? He asked, past the lump in his throat. Too many to count. The man's voice grew grave. They outnumber us. Kanuna's heart fell to the pit of his stomach, but he did not let it show. Return to your post. Tell the others to be ready when I give my call. The man nodded and left. My fathers, help me. It is happening. He gathered his warriors. He could see their anxiety despite their hardened, painted exteriors. The battle equipment rattled in anticipation of war. Kanuna mounted his black stallion and faced his men. We are warriors of the Cherokee tribe. Salagi Dihihi. He hailed. We are fearless. We will not give in to the pale-faced demons. Sorry, I love that line. They do not intimidate us. We will not let them destroy us. We will fight till there is no more blood in our veins, defending what is ours, our land. The men clanged their weapons together in response. We are Advando Didlihi, Kanuna cried. The men clanged their weapons harder, ululating at the top of their voices, with their spears, knives, bows, arrows, tomahawks. At the ready, they jumped on their horses as the war cry was sounded. They rode out of the village to face the Paleskins in battle behind their war chief. The village cheered them on until their dust disappeared. Arriving at the top of the hill, they saw that the Paleskins had already assembled in an orderly fashion in the valley below, awaiting their charge. Kanuna wasn't pleased with this, but nothing could be done about it now. So he led the charge into battle, anticipating a head-on-head collision. But many of his warriors dropped dead because the Paleskins had the advantage of wielding long black weapons that spat fireballs with a deafening sound. But even though the enemy put a dent in their formation, it didn't slow down the rest of them, as they were lucky that the Paleskins' weapons took some time to be reloaded. They crashed into their enemy and the battle began. Left, right, and center, bodies were hacked and blood spilled. The echo of battle cries pierced the heart of the land. Kanuna fended off 5 soldiers that came at him simultaneously, killing each one of them as they came. His body suddenly trembled in reaction to the cold steel that penetrated his side. The world was still for a moment as he experienced pain like never before. His body was in tune with every organ the sword passed through before it was wrenched out of him. Kanuna sat numb on his horse for a moment before the piercing scream of the man he was impaling reached his ears, snapping him back to the reality that was this war. He finished the man off and slaughtered yet another man, still refusing to look at the wound on his side, knowing to only slow him down. Ignoring the tremendous pain, he spun his horse around to see the man who had stabbed him riding away towards another one of his warriors. The man was a fool to have believed the Red Chief could be finished off so easily. Kanuna threw his knife, burying it in the man's back. The man fell off his horse, and before he could even stir, Kanuna drove his spear into his head. Kanuna immediately ducked as another soldier swung a sword at his neck. While the soldier regained his composure, Kanuna returned the favor, swinging his tomahawk at the man's neck, decapitating him. Kanuna urged his horse forward and buried his tomahawk in the chest of a man desperately stuffing black powder into the weapon he held aimed at Kanuna, and thus the battle continued. But the battle didn't last very long. They were outnumbered to begin with, and no matter how hard they fought, their weapons were no match for the Paleskins' firearms. Kanuna could see that they had lost the battle. The scanty remains of his army fought desperately until they too were finished off. Hot tears spilled from his eyes as he retreated from the battle scene to warn his villagers of their loss. Despite the blood pouring out of his side and the pain the wound brought, he rode fast as he could back to the village. But by the time he got there, he saw that the village was already under attack. Kanuna watched in horror as his village was completely set ablaze. His people were screaming and scrambling, trying to save their lives as the soldiers shot everyone in sight. Kanuna watched through red eyes, people set ablaze as their burning Asi came crashing down on them. He saw most drop dead from bullet wounds to the head. He watched the few who tried to fight back being killed in the most horrific way. All these people he knew by name. He knew their families, and for most of them, he remembered the day they were born. It took everything in him not to rush into battle again in full vengeance. He had to find what was left of his family. He found his youngest son, Wea, crouching at the corner of a burning Asi, where he had left him before the battle. Kanuna picked him up and set him on the horse. He quickly looked around for his other son, but couldn't find him. Kanuna rode out of the village at a dangerous speed. After a short while of riding, Kanuna fell off the horse, overcome with weakness. He had lost too much blood and was terribly nauseated. Wea jumped off the horse and made his way to his father's side. "Father," he squatted beside him. "Where?" Kanuna felt very dizzy. His vision was blurry. "I need you to listen. Take the horse and ride away from here as fast as you can." "But I cannot ride. I cannot see." His voice was like a whisper in the wind. "Wohali is well trained. He will die defending you." Kanuna was choking on the blood in his mouth. "Just let him lead you. He would know how to get you safely away from here." "What about you, father? Will you not come?" The innocence of his 10-year-old broke his heart. He was still so young and naive, not ready to face the world alone. But Kanuna hardened his heart. This was definitely no time for sentiment. I got badly wounded in battle today, and I'm going to die," he told him matter-of-factly. Wea gasped. "But you do not have to be afraid." He sat up, grunting in pain. "My time has come today does not mean yours has to come too, my son." His voice was husky. "Never fear the pale-skinned. They are mindless fools, cowards." He spat out the blood in his mouth and coughed violently as more blood filled his mouth. "Son, you must be brave and strong and face whatever fate that comes your way with courage and wisdom. Let nothing stop you, especially your blindness." Kanuna removed the amulet around his neck and put it around Wea's neck. It was a special amulet fashioned by his ancestors before him, representing their clan, the Wolf Clan. It had been passed down through generations of red chiefs. Wea ran his fingers over it. At the center of the amulet lay a precious stone with the engraving of a wolf on it. "It symbolizes courage and strength," Kanuna rasped. "Keep it well. Someday, my son, you will be a great chief." "Father, I will not leave you. I'm afraid," Wea said desperately. "No, you must go now." More blood was streaming out of the corner of his mouth. He pulled Wea close in a tight hug and pushed him away from him. "Go!" Wea had never been more afraid in his life. He quickly mounted the horse and galloped away. Wohali meant eagle. Wea had always wondered why his father had given the horse that name. Now he understood. The speed at which it bolted was alarming. Wea lay flat on the horse, both arms and legs wrapped tightly around the beast as far as they could go. For the first time in his life, he realized he had no idea where he was or where he was headed. He wondered amidst the terrifying and bumpy ride what fate lay ahead of him now that all he knew was no more. The horse was slowing down. Wea sat up, sensing there was trouble ahead. Wohali suddenly made a sharp U-turn and sprinted in the opposite direction. Wea let out a shriek as he bounced uncontrollably on the horse. Branches and dried leaves brushed against his face painfully. His stomach churned and he vomited. He felt very sick and couldn't hold on anymore. He slipped off the horse. His pursuers were on him in no time. They seemed to be taken aback by his youth, but they didn't have long to ponder on it because Wohali came and stood over him, ready to protect him. The men were mesmerized by the beauty and majesty of the stallion and were impressed by its loyalty and fealty. They wanted them both. They were soon amazed at the horse's strength. It snarled, kicked, and beat anyone who came within spitting distance of Ware. The struggle lasted a while until they gave up and put a bullet in its head. Ware couldn't stop screaming as Wahali fell to the ground and he was seized. All his father had told him about being brave in the face of adversity meant nothing to him now. He was terrified out of his mind and continued to beg for his life and freedom. Even though it was clear they couldn't understand the word he was saying. But he knew that even if they could, it wouldn't make a difference. Ware was captured along with other war survivors from neighboring clans. They were all huddled together and well guarded so that none could escape. The soldiers had guns at the ready and threatened them in both English and broken Cherokee that if any of them tried anything stupid during the course of the journey, they would be shot dead on the spot. Together, they will be forced to march under extremely harsh conditions to a reservation miles away in winter. This walk would be known to the later generations as the Trail of Tears. End of chapter 1. Thanks for watching, guys, and thanks for all your support. Please like and subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments below. Remember, if you're interested in any of the copies of the books, just DM me and I'll get that to you. Take care. Bye.